Looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Tonight, we made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. My friends, we have done it. I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. An hour ago, I spoke with Andrew Cuomo about the need to bring this city together as he called me to concede the race.
Kiss the ring.
And I want to thank Brad Lander.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Acknowledge the concession, then move on. Yes. Yes. Fucking I love hating. I love hating.
Who did exactly that. Together we have shown the power of the politics of the future. One of partnership and of sincerity.
Let's hear it.
You will be reincarnated as a lotus flower, Brad.
8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford, we have won. We have won from Harlem to Bay Ridge. We have won from Jackson Heights to Port Richmond. We have won from Maspeth to Chinatown. We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. One where those who toil in the night can enjoy the fruits of their labor in the day. Where hard work is repaid with a stable life. Where 8 hours on the factory floor or behind the wheel of a cab is enough to pay the mortgage. It is enough to keep the lights on. It is enough to send your kid to school. Where rent-stabilized apartments are actually stabilized. Where buses are fast and free. Where childcare doesn't cost more than CUNY. And where public safety keeps us truly safe. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism. To stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors. And to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
Yep.
A party where we fight for working people with no apology. A life of dignity should not be reserved for a fortunate few. It should be one that city government guarantees for each and every New Yorker. If this campaign has demonstrated anything to the world, it is that our dreams can become reality. Dreaming demands hope. And when I think of hope, I think of the unprecedented coalition of New Yorkers that we have built. For this is not my victory. This is ours. It is the victory of the Bangladeshi auntie who knocked on door after door until her feet throbbed and her knuckles ached. It is the victory of the 18-year-old who voted in their first ever election. And it is the victory of the Gambian uncle who finally saw himself and his struggle in a campaign for the city that he calls home. Dreaming demands solidarity. And when I look out at this room and out onto the midnight skyline, that is what I see. Canvas launches that continued in the pouring rain. Children who called parents. Strangers who care about those they will never meet. A New York that believes in each other and in itself. This is solidarity, and it defines our victory. And above all, dreaming demands work. Last Friday night, as the sun began to drop in the sky, I set off on a 13-mile walk from the northernmost tip of Manhattan to the base of the island. We began in Inwood, where music played and neighbors set out dominoes on the sidewalk. It was 7 p.m. The weekend had arrived. For most people, the time for work was over. But this is New York, where the work never ends. Waiters carried plates on 181st Street. Conductors drove the subways that rattled high above 125th. And world-class musicians tuned instruments as we passed Lincoln Square. By the time we made it downtown, a crowd marched behind us, a living embodiment of the energy and purpose that defines this campaign. Still, long past midnight, New York worked. Garbage trucks weaved through empty streets. Fishmongers carried in tomorrow's wares. And when we finally arrived at the Battery at 2:20 a.m. in the morning, the workers who run the Staten Island Ferry were on the job too. Just as they are every hour of the day, every day of the week. Each of these New Yorkers carried a dream with them that night as they labored. Just as each of us dreams of a New York that is more hopeful and affordable for all. And we have worked hard for our dream. This has been a historically contentious race. One that has filled our airwaves with millions in smears and slander. I hope now that this primary has come to an end, I can introduce myself once more. Not as you've seen me in a 30-second ad or in a mailer in your mailbox, but as how I will lead as your mayor. I will be the mayor for every New Yorker. Whether you voted for me, for Governor Cuomo, or felt too disillusioned by a long, broken political system to vote at all, I will fight for a city that works for you, that is affordable for you, that is safe for you. I will work to be a mayor you will be proud to call your own. I cannot promise that you will always agree with me, but I will never hide from you. If you are hurting, I will try to heal. If you feel misunderstood, I will strive to understand. Your concerns will always be mine, and I will put your hopes before my own. And I know that those hopes extend beyond our 5 boroughs. There are millions of New Yorkers who have strong feelings about what happens overseas. I am one of them. And while I will not abandon my beliefs or my commitments, grounded in a demand for equality, for humanity, for all those who walk this earth, you have my word to reach further, to understand the perspectives of those with whom I disagree, and to wrestle deeply with those disagreements. Let me close with this. In these dark times, I know that it is harder than ever to keep faith in our democracy. It has been attacked by billionaires and their big spending, by elected officials who care more about self-enrichment than the public trust, and by authoritarian leaders who rule through fear. But above all, our democracy has been attacked from within. For too long, New Yorkers have strained to find a leader who represents us, who puts us first. And we have been betrayed time and again. After so many disappointments, the heart hardens. Belief becomes elusive. And when we no longer believe in our democracy, it only becomes easier for people like Donald Trump to convince us of his worth. For billionaires to convince us that they must always lead. As FDR said, democracy has disappeared in several other great nations. Not because the people disliked democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and weakness. In desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in the hope of getting something to eat. New York, if we have made one thing clear over these past months, it is that we need not choose between the two. We can be free and we can be fed. We can demand what we deserve. And together we have built a movement where everyday New Yorkers recognize themselves in our vision of democracy. Every new voter registered, that is faith renewed. Every voter who traveled through withering heat to the polls, that is faith renewed. And every New Yorker who sees solutions to the daily challenges they face in this campaign, that is faith renewed. Together, New York, we have renewed our democracy. We have given our city permission to believe again. And I pledge to you that we will remake this great city, not in my image, but in the image of every New Yorker who has only known struggle. In our New York, the power belongs to the people. And as I thank the people that are here with me today, and as I thank the incredible leaders who have long fought for those people, who are here across this crowd and across these 5 boroughs and standing next to me in the Attorney General of this state, in the Public Advocate of this city, in our Congress Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez, in our controller, Brad Lander, and in every single person who believed in this campaign long before it was easy to do so. And you believed when it was difficult. We dreamt in the night, and we are now building in the dawn. That new day, the one that we have yearned for, the one that we have struggled for, the one that we have knocked for, have texted for, have called for, the one that we have obsessed over. That new day is finally here, my friends. And it is here because you have delivered it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as I thank you, I must thank those who brought me into this world. I must thank my mother and my father. Mira and Mahmoud. And I must thank and I must thank my incredible wife, Rama Duaji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let us lead this city into one that is affordable for each and every New Yorker.
Jesus, man. No wonder he took so long getting out here. I don't think any of that speech was the original speech. Because that's the reason he took so long getting out there. It's because he had to rewrite the speech from a "let's wait and see" to the "mandate of heaven carries us" speech, and I think that was all new. The fact that that got whipped up in just a few hours is pretty crazy. Oh, my face hurts from all that smiling. Yeah, wow, that's going to be in the books, huh? Overwhelming mandate of heaven, right there. He understands the mission assignment, you know? When you win in a victory like this, you don't give half-assed little victory speech you write like you're going to be written of in the history books, which he very, very well may be. He did literally everything I could have possibly wanted him to. I mean, I can't promise you will always agree with me, but I will never hide from you. Whew. We used to pray for aura farming like this, man. He said he wanted to be a model for the Democratic Party in that part. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He ran literally the most perfect campaign in U.S. history. That sounds like a wild overstatement. I can't think of anything to contest it. I'm sure there is. I don't know every election ever, but I can't think of anything to contest that statement. I don't know. FDR? Yeah, but FDR was like director of the Navy or something beforehand. Mamdani came from like nowhere. You know, it's not just about how much we like the guy or whatever. We're talking about an unbelievable upset. This is only the beginning, okay? Like, we are happy now, as we should be, and we shouldn't temper that happiness, but we should know that it is going to be an uphill battle. The Democrats are going to rat fuck him at every turn. Wall Street is going to rat fuck him at every turn. The Republicans, I guess it's not rat if they're doing it, but they're also going to stand against him. JD Vance on Blue Sky, he loves posting on Blue Sky, congratulated Mamdani as the new leader of the Democratic Party. For the first time in his life, JD Vance is correct. Mamdani is. Nobody else in the Democratic Party is carrying this energy right now. Not even close. Not AOC, not Bernie. All eyes are on him. And the Democratic Party is not going to want to be changed by him. We have to make sure they change. We have to be the loudest, most annoying, non-stop 24/7 campaigners. We need to model the energy of the Trump campaign, a group of people who wear campaign merchandise years after the campaign that merchandise was from was won. And I mean it. We need to be more vindictive towards people we hate, more hateful than you thought possible. And we need to carry a better energy about moving forward. We need to force people to bend the knee. Nobody in power is going to allow Mamdani to direct the Democratic Party because they like him. None of them are going to bend the knee because it's the nice thing to do. They have to be forced to. And as powerful as the capital interests are over the Democratic Party, there are other interests. Is there a deep state? Yes, but they don't control everything. They just heavily influence it. Nobody controls the world, not even a group of people. There are Democrats who are completely bought, like Schumer, but there are many Democrats who just, want book deals. They want the power of a Congress seat, They would switch over if it was convenient. They're capable of being won over, even if it's by force. Kathy Hochul, again, I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, actually gave what I would consider a pretty nice ring-kissing statement on Twitter. Today, voters made their voices heard, demanding a more affordable, more livable New York City. I hear them loud and clear. Mamdani built a formidable grassroots coalition, and I look forward to speak with him in the days ahead about his ideas on how to ensure a safe, affordable, and livable New York City. Katie is Hochul. Katie Hochul? Hochul, sure. Hochul, thank you. She is a slave to capital, sure. But again, there are other interests, With enough power, Kathy, with enough power, even people like Kathy can be meant to bend the knee. But that power isn't just going to come from the numbers in this election, okay? Being, outperforming Cuomo isn't enough. You need to be a non-stop political force. If you defy Mamdani, life should be unlivable for you. If you're a public official who's rat him, you should be harangued at every corner by Mamdani supporters. Democrats from coast to coast should be made to answer for any disagreement, any betrayal, anything. It should destroy their careers. They should look back on those moments with regret. Why did I cross Mamdani? I'm not trying to overstate. I'm not trying to aura farm. I'm not trying to sound cool. This is how you win. It's not a joke. It's not what's the revolutionary thing you say here. This is how you win. It's how Bernie Sanders went from an independent senator to coming very close to winning the 2016 primary. And it's how Mamdani went from being 1% in polling a few months ago to being the future mayor of New York City. Democrats have to be made to answer when they speak against him. It has to be politically damaging for them. There need to be consequences. Republicans, too, need to suffer the consequences of denying his mandate, you know? When Republican governors, mayors, whatever, talk about New York City, point out that their city or state is a shithole, full of people who don't even make enough money to pay taxes to the federal government, drug users. Point out the overdose rates in their district. What are they doing about that? Crying about victorious mayoral candidates? Everyone should be afraid of him, except for his constituents. That's the only group of people that he should be afraid of. Everyone else should quake. Every other politician, every media figure, everyone whose job it is to make life difficult for socialists, they are his enemy and they are yours. And then you need to keep that going forever. You cannot let that go. Do you think now that Zoran has gained the mandate of heaven, Bernie can finally rest? Zoran will have to do better than Bernie ever could. Bernie Sanders has done a lot of good, but Mamdani is facing an uphill battle that will require far, far, far more competence from him. You need to be so disciplined, guys. I really mean it. When do-nothing leftists who want to sit on Twitter and whine attack Mamdani, you gotta tear into them. When liberals point out perhaps that a policy of his doesn't go as well as maybe it could have, and that'll happen, by the way, you have to tear into him. Victory requires a level of dogmatism that rational people are often uncomfortable with. Unfortunately, it's how you win. You don't win wars by telling your soldiers to go out there and be nice. Trump didn't win 2 elections in the general by encouraging moderate participation from his supporters. It's life or death out there. And with the state American democracy is in right now, we can't afford to lose. We're running out of just wait for the next elections, you know? I don't know how many more it is what it is I've got in me. This country is sinking. And there is, right now, one life raft. We eventually need someone else too, though, because Mamdani can't run for president. Look at what Brad Lander is. Brad Lander is a progressive, sure, but hardly a revolutionary. But because he's allied with Mamdani, he's been elevated. Before, had he perished, unfortunately, before his time, he would have been reincarnated, perhaps as a butterfly. But now he will ascend to the highest status, a lotus flower. He's been elevated through his association with Mamdani. Mamdani makes the people around him better. That's what good politicians, activists, revolutionaries do. They are the spark that lights the powder keg, but they bring everyone with them. You know, they're the initiating force, but they allow other people to be more brave. Yes, there's room for moderates too. Of course, as long as they don't rat. You're not going to turn every Democrat socialist overnight, but you don't need to be a socialist to know Mamdani is better than Trump. And those are the lines. If you're a moderate and you're like, well, I don't agree with some of Mamdani's policies, but it's obvious which of these two is better, congratulations. Welcome to the coalition. That's fine. I don't expect to agree with everyone and everything. But if you do a rat, if you undermine Mamdani, as so many have tried to do, then yeah, that's on you. Remember the saying, vote blue no matter who? That's right. And Mamdani's blue. Liberals, it's your turn. Fall in line. Quite a campaign, huh? I'll be honest, on top of the political scheming, I'm worried about the huge surge of death threats. Lotus Flower, of course he should take care of his own safety. But at the same time, he knew what he was getting into. Good luck, Eric Adams. If Eric Adams was interested in actually winning this race, he would not have run as an independent. This is meaningless. He probably promised the Republicans that he was blackmailed by. He probably promised Pam Bondi that he would make a good faith effort at running again so that they could maintain their control over him and therefore New York City with regard to ICE access. But it won't be enough. Establishment MAGA cultist Scott Presler is complaining about ranked choice voting. Okay, I'm just going to say one more thing. Focus on what matters, okay? You have to understand. This isn't about Twitter bickering, okay? Why does Matt Iglesias, why does every bad take he has get shuffled off to me when every tweet has 1,000 likes and 400 comments? Why do we focus on these people? Know what matters, okay? You're up against the devil here, all right? You can't afford to get lost in the, I'll say it, privileged, you know, cosmopolitan observer socialism, where you're here to laugh at the funny people on Twitter, to be smug. Don't be a liberal, okay? You need to go do some shit. If you care about this mandate, Go buy some Mamdani merch. I'll see if I can find it. Have any XL baseball caps? I'll wear that shit until the snap on the back pops off, okay? Go involve yourself. There are other races to participate in. There are still phones to bank. There are still doors to knock, okay? You need to deliver a level of energy that Mamdani deserves in his race and in others. And his race isn't done. You got to find something to do. And to me, that's not picking off at slack-jawed midwits who, you know, pick together a 5-figure living off Substack, writing contrarian articles about how freezing the rent won't work even though it's worked before, okay? You need to focus on what matters. Rice, beans, work out, stretch, wear good clothing, make friends, and be an overwhelming force for good. I'm going to start being harder on you people, by the way. You know, back in the days when socialists and union organizers were a lot more effective and powerful than they are now, you know what wasn't a thing? Social anxiety. Yeah, I'll say it. You people need to shape the fuck up. You're not going to win when the median Trump supporter lacks the cognitive ability to be self-conscious. Meanwhile, you're thinking, ooh, what if my voice sounds wrong? What if people think I'm annoying? Who cares? And feel some shame, okay? Work out and dress properly, okay? You need to be a warrior for this shit. You need you no fair weather support. No, oh well, I dunk on people on Twitter or whatever, okay? You need to be like an advocate. Suck a dick, start a business, go and vote. Exactly. People are too comfortable. Everyone is. I think it's deeply embarrassing that Republicans are able to manifest a borderline manic level of energy from their base constantly, despite Republicans benefiting not at all from their candidates and not being heard at all by Democrats. Meanwhile, there are people in, we'll say, New York City or elsewhere who are very directly affected by what's happening, by the downfall of this country on every level. Socially, politically, economically, on every level they're being hurt. And still, they're too socially anxious to make the phone calls. They don't go out, they don't meet people, they don't talk, they don't get involved, they don't contribute, they don't phone bank, they don't canvass. And then you go online and you ask, well, what happened to American democracy? Why is everyone so stupid? Because you weren't there to talk to them. All the reasonable people are inside. Well, I don't want to go outside. Yeah, that's why they won. It's not about proving it to me, okay? Just do your best. That's all.